You tap your phone, the red light flares, and suddenly the room feels colder. "This is Harlow Quinn," you whisper, and you're listening to the glass heart. A faint hum rides the silence, like breath against frosted glass, and you leave it in the intro on purpose. Will listeners lean closer? You hope so, because the first voice they hear after yours is 21 years dead. A clipped police recording crackles. A teenage boy screams a name you almost managed to forget. You cut the file short, fade in your heartbeat, and speak directly to the earbuds 1,000 strangers will wear. You ask, "Did you hear it? That jagged edge beneath the terror?" You're talking to them, but you're also talking to yourself. After all, you were there that night, though no one ever asked why. You land in your hometown before the sun thinks about waking. The airport smells like wet carpet and undeclared regrets. Luggage thumps the carousel, and you count every thud like a pulse. You tell listeners the timing was strategic, but truth. You didn't want daylight greeting you. Darkness feels safer when you're carrying secrets. Main Street hasn't changed, except the pharmacy now sells artisanal candle melts shaped like local landmarks. You pass them, breathing in faux pine and manufactured nostalgia, and you keep the mic clipped to your coat so you can narrate in real time. You'd never guess a murder lived here, you say. But maybe murders prefer tidy places, less competition from the chaos. Your first stop is the field behind the Baptist church, the place where Lucinda Gren was found. You let the wind talk for a full 8 seconds. Do the listeners picture cornstalks rattling? Do they know you're staring at the bent fence post where her diary was discovered 3 days later? You never told anyone you'd seen the diary first, balanced on that very wire, like the town itself was offering an apology. You crouch, click on a pocket flashlight and speak. Lucinda wrote that she felt like glass, transparent to strangers, razor sharp to anyone who touched her. She called it the glass heart syndrome. Cute, right? Except she died of cardiac lacerations, an irony no one forgets. You swallow, especially me. Now you transition, your tone lighter, almost playful. I'm staying at my parents' place because every story needs a ground zero. The car tires crunch, kudzu. Porch lights bloom. Through the windshield, you see your mother pinching roses at 4 a.m. Why? You ask the microphone, then yourself, then nobody. Every answer feels dangerous. Inside, the hallway smells of lemon polish and buried decades. Your brother Will greets you with a grin too wide, too practiced. Listeners can't see it, but you describe the way his smile presses a white crescent in his left cheek. You always wondered if that dimple was formed by secrets, not genetics. "Dinner tomorrow, 7 sharp," Will says. "Whole family. We'll toast your success." You record the invitation verbatim, because your show thrives on contrasts. Celebration perched atop tragedy like icing on a gravestone. That night you can't sleep. You splice audio, lay a piano under the police call, then isolate the boy's scream. You slow it, bend it, and there, beneath the distortion, you swear you hear your own name. You shut the laptop so fast the screen blinks like a startled eye. Could a voice memo lie? Could memory? Morning brings metallic sunlight. You walk listeners through the square, offer a coffee shop anecdote. Let them breathe between confessions. You ever notice, you ask, how hometowns age like mirrors? The longer you stare, the more cracks stare back. You let the question hang because silence is an active ingredient in suspense. Episode 2 needs fresh tension, so you visit Deputy Marla Hayes. She opens the door, wearing yesterday's uniform and a whiskey grin. You record every clack of her ashtray. We combed that field for a week, she says, but the diary vanished after day 1. Weird, right? You force your voice soft. If you'd found it, what would you have done? She laughs. Published it. That kid wrote better than the Bible. You thank her and walk out, throat tight. Listeners know you're holding back. They can hear the flutter in your pitch. You decide to reward their patience. Back at the motel, you lift a battered notebook from your backpack, flip to page 14, and read Lucinda's words as though they're your own. If I disappear, start with the people who love me. Love cuts cleaner than hate. A beat passes. Then you admit you kept the diary hidden for 2 decades. Gasps will fill living rooms you'll never see, and you drink them in like applause. Evening slides into the awkward glow of porch light and mosquito coils. You arrive at your parents' house with 2 recorders, one visible, one tucked in your sleeve. A sound engineer's trick. You need redundancy when truth is slippery. The table gleams with roast chicken and your father's special corn pudding. Such an ordinary feast for a family tied to a corpse. You greet your sister June, who now sells luxury coffins online. Dead is the new black, she winks. You describe her laugh, brittle as spun sugar. Then Will pours wine. Your mother says grace longer than normal, and you see her fingers tremble as she blesses the hands that prepared the meal. Whose hands exactly? You record the tremor. Conversation starts safe. Traffic, taxes, your sudden fame. But tension flexes its muscles beneath the tablecloth. You guide listeners through every micropause. Why does Will leave a full inch between his chair and the hardwood? Why does your father avoid your gaze whenever Lucinda's name surfaces? You lob a probing joke. The room freezes. Glassware sings a nervous chord. You clear your throat. Remember the carnival the week before Lucinda died? Will's fork stops midair. Your mother's rosary ticks against porcelain. You mention the photo booth where you, Will, and Lucinda crammed together. 3 teenage heads pressed like illicit currency. I lost that strip, you say. Will corrects you. You gave it to her. You didn't. At least you don't think you did. The first layer of unreliable memory peels back, exposing pink uncertainty. Later, when dishes clatter in the sink, June slips you a Polaroid. It's the booth picture, edges frayed. Lucinda's smile is half cut off, as if the camera couldn't hold her completely. June whispers, "Found it in Dad's toolbox last year." Your pulse hammers like shoes on a wooden stage. Toolbox? Why there? You thank her with your eyes and pocket the photo next to the hidden recorder. Drama loves documentation. Midnight drapes the house. You lock your bedroom door, spread the diary on the bed, and read a passage dated 2 nights before the murder. W told me the heart isn't glass. It's a grenade. He said pull the pin, give it time, watch people run. W. Your last name starts with W. So does Will's. Which one of you pulled the pin? You ask listeners, ever misfile a memory then find it where it doesn't belong? You tell them you suddenly remember a smell, gasoline mingled with kettle corn, that carnival again, and Will dragging a jerry can behind the tilt-a-whirl. Did that happen? Or is your brain gilding gaps with suspicion? You laugh, a thin, cracked sound, and promise the next episode will explode myths. If my family's hiding something, you tease. We're about to drop every shard on the floor. Stay tuned. Recording off, you close your eyes. But guilt pecks at your ribs like trapped sparrows. You decide to risk everything. Quiet as dust, You tread down the hall toward the garage. Your father snores like a chainsaw in the den, TV snow painting him blue. You step around the old mutt, flip the light, and see the toolbox. Chest heaves, fingers sweat. You lift the lid. Inside, wrenches, nails, and beneath them, a cassette labeled Lucy 912. Your hand shakes the way it did at your first live show. You slip the tape in your pocket. Behind you, a floorboard whines. You spin. Will stands there, face moon pale in the garage light. Neither of you speak. You just listen to the bass line of midnight. Moth wings, fridge hum, shared blood roaring. Next morning, you drive to the only place left with a working tape deck, the high school media lab. You narrate each step for the audience because you need them with you. The halls smell like bleach and band sweat, you say. My shoes squeak like they remember pep rallies. You slide the tape in, static. Then Lucinda's voice, soft as dandelion fluff. Will says love is a serum. We test it tonight. Another voice overlaps, distorted but unmistakable. Yours. Do it, you say on the tape. We'll both be free. Your stomach flips. You stagger, pull the earphones off, but you keep narration flowing because the mic demands it. You ask, free from what, Harlow? Then quieter. Free from who? The listeners can taste your panic. You let them. Vulnerability is currency. Outside, clouds bruise the sky. You sit in the car, gripping the steering wheel like a confession booth. You tell the audience you're driving to the sheriff's office, but instead you turn down a dirt lane toward the lake. The soundtrack is your breathing. You replay the tape at full volume. The lake appears, a glass platter waiting to be shattered. Will's truck is already there. He stands at the pier, wind flinging his hair across his eyes. You park, mic still hot, and step onto the planks. You kept it, he says. No hello, just an indictment. You counter, you planted it. He almost smiles. Does it matter? One of us has to own the story. You realize he's been listening to your podcast. Every episode, every breadcrumb, every suspicion. He knows you've weaponized truth. Rain needles the water. You ask the question listeners are screaming. Did you kill her? Will's eyes glisten. Don't you remember? We both did. Lightning stains the clouds white. Memories detonate. Gasoline smell. Lucinda's dare to play with fire. Your frantic decision to scorch the diary. A spark too greedy. Lucinda running, stumbling, glass-sharp heart tearing inside her when she fell on the fence. You swallow bile. Will steps closer. Podcast wants closure. Give it to them. Say I acted alone. Protect Mom. Protect yourself. He presses the cassette into your palm. Edit the tape. Cut your voice. Tell the world the villain's been here all along. Another flash of lightning freezes his face in absolution or threat. You can't tell. You turn away, microphone still live. You're hearing this as I choose, you tell listeners. Do I keep loyalty or truth? Your voice trembles. If you're still here, maybe you'll forgive me for what comes next. You walk to the edge of the pier. Water laps like a slow applause. You raise the tape above your head. Will's breath catches. You can feel it. What cracks first? You ask the audience. Glass or blood ties? Without waiting for an answer, you hurl the cassette into the lake. It arcs, brief and bright, then vanishes in a gulp of dark water. Will exhales, relief and grief braided. You click off the recorder. Hours later, alone in your motel, you weave the final edit. You open the diary to its last page. The ink has bled from humidity, words smudged into ink blots resembling hearts. You record one last line. Some stories don't end, they refract. Then you shut the journal, shut the program, and stare at the upload button. Do you publish? You hover, heartbeat loud enough to mark the timeline. Finally, you drag the entire unfinished episode into a folder labeled Glass Heart, Fragments. You schedule a different upload, a 10-second clip of wind over water. No closure, no confession, just infinite ripple. You end the podcast with a whisper. Ask yourself if silence can be an act of love. You let that linger, then fade to black. And you, listener, will walk away holding the shards I refuse to glue, wondering which cut belongs to you. Take that with you. Truth slices. But sometimes the deeper wound is what we choose not to say.